That does not fill me with confidence. He's... Is this our classroom? For real? Is that you, Ayano?
しっかりしろよ。篠崎。
So do these two escape?
見てみろよ、周り。
Did these two escape?
マジだよ。ほら、俺の作る。ってことは。しゃ
Fuck yeah! I like that reaction. I mean, that's great, you guys, but everyone else is kind of fucked. You guys are safe. The rest of it not. The rest of us are fucked. I never thought I'd live to come and see home again. Well, here we are.
Satoshi やユイ先生たちは。
Guess there's no Satoshi or Miss Yui or anyone else, huh? Get the feeling something's gonna happen. Venturing out in search of others, you find that even the janitor is likely gone home. The lights are out and the halls are pitch black. Only the red glow of the light next to the fire extinguisher offers any respite from the quaint, quiet darkness of the school hallway. Standing around in the darkened corridors of our school building at 8 o'clock in the evening just feels so surreal. As the thunder and rain grow in intensity, the windows begin to consider it with moisture, turning white in contrast to the corridor's sea of black. Is this reality? Was everything up until now just a dream? Where am I right now? And what am I doing? You're not home. You're not home. The school's fucking with you. But the fuck is that? It's not over, is it? Why isn't it over? Why? Damn it. Oh, hello. Can I help you? Hello. It was a rainy evening after school, just like this one. On the day I was kidnapped. I remember I had a fight with my mom that morning. I have no idea. I didn't want to see her face. So after school I decided that instead of going home, I'd park myself in the outdoor walkway for the little and watch the rain. That's when Mr. Yoshikazu showed up. He sat down next to me. I told him all about my fight with my mom, and he listened really closely. He just kept saying, uh-huh, uh-huh. He was sick and couldn't speak much, but he was a very kind man. I really liked him. But then... You too. I'm so sorry. She's so tiny. She must be 5th grader. Yuki Kano, right? Thank you for what you did back there. For making the effort to help those of us who were killed in that school. Didn't we succeed though? Why are you still here? You didn't. But we returned your tongues. We gave you back the ability to tell your story. And we even got the murderer to repent for what he did. Is it just that you can't forgive him no matter what? Appeasing us isn't about forgiveness. It doesn't matter if we forgive or not. Repentance is between the criminal and the victim. It's only the sole act capable of moving us. We exist as fragments of a sacred ground upon which heavenly host is sealed. I believe that moving us is your best course of action. His repentance just wasn't enough. So you're saying his words, the words spoken by the door, weren't good enough to appease you?
あれは
That's not.
で、な
So what then?
なんだって無
Why do you
関係
feel
の
the need to
人間
trap
を
one innocent stranger
何
after
人も
remembering
何
that
人も閉じ
godforsaken
込め
place?
俺たちをあ
The
そこ
child
に呼び
spirits are
寄
the
せた
ones
の
who
は
summoned us there, aren't you?
それは
That's not true.
だと
The hell do you mean by that?
私たちは
We're just the cogs that hold the close spaces together.
お前鈴本
You
を殺
killed
したじゃねえ
Tsumoto,
かよ
didn't you?
なあ
もう少し
So actually going to reveal some truths.
お姉さんたちだ
I'm
け
just glad I was able to get even the two of you back to safety.
なんで急に
私のおね強い未練
A lost soul whose life has ended violently and abruptly, leaving her with a mountain of worries and regrets. It's kind of like stopping short at the edge of madness.
いろんな感情や
With all sorts of thoughts and feelings swirling around in your head, your kindly nature and your sudden hatred and panic began to spin around and around, and you just start acting out without any sort of control.
お前の姉さん
Is this just some kind of medium or something?
うん
Yeah, something like that. So what are you saying is this little girl and the creepy little girl we met before are two sides of the same coin?
だったらお願い
I feel for you, I really do, so please bring the rest of them back. Mokita, Mishishido, everyone else too. Bring them all back home.
もう
I don't think that's possible anymore.
あの空間は
Those close spaces have eaten a lot of innocent souls. Far too many, in
そ
fact.
こで死んだ人たちの
Grudges of those who died there have filled every last corner of them. There's no room left.
行き場をなくした
Because the agony and pain has nowhere else to go,
わずかに残った
it's
理
been
性
began feeding on the minds of souls like us, who are bound there.
私だって
It wouldn't be
生
long
きてる人を
before turning back into a vengeful spirit who attacks people like you without mercy.
あなたも
So we're going to lose you as an ally then?
だったら
So why don't you just hurry up and bring them home right now?
何か
Isn't there any way for us to save Mokidia and the others?
一つだけ
There may be one way.
お兄さんも
I think you already know. You have to return to the closed spaces.
私たち
Find all four of us Heavenly Host serial kidnapping murder
み
victims
んなを
and put us all to rest. Then closed spaces won't have their cogs anymore, so they should begin to fade from
そう
existence.
すれば
And you just might get your friends back.
あそこへ
You expect us to go back?
それに
And this time, instead of just having one person left to appease, we have to go back to the drawing board and appease all four of you?
どうしてさ
Why couldn't you tell us the reason our previous efforts weren't good enough? Why is there to hide?
それは
It's just
思い出したくない
something I don't want to remember, but
どうしても知り
if
た
you
い
really
の
want to
に
know, I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything that happened. Yuki's spirit gently took hold of Ayumi's hand, and in an instant, their two beings seemed to merge together into a single mind.
篠崎
Hmm. So she's just showing memories? Painfully, of course. She's doing it very painfully, but you know, she's still doing it. Ow.
どうなったの
What happened to me?
気絶したはず
Didn't
なの
I
に
pass out? So am I fully aware right now?
真っ暗だし
I can't see a thing. I can't move.
なんか
It's like that feeling you get when you're really tired. Sleep paralysis, I think. Ooh, sleep paralysis demons. Oh, God, Lordy Lord. Where?
体が動かない
Sachiguru Shinozaki, the little girl in the red dress, and the only survivor of the horrific murders that occurred in Heavenly Coast Elementary School. Following the incident, Sachiko's family fled from the area, moving to another prefecture to escape the frightful memories that remained here. Strangely, however, I've been able to locate any other records of the Shinozaki family. No matter where I look, the only information I can find about them comes from newspaper reports on the Heavenly Host murders. Granted, when an elementary school becomes the stage of a grisly incident such as this, perpetrated by none other than the principal's own son, it stands to reason that the scandal would serve as a primary focus for public interest, with all other details fading into the background. So of course, after learning that Sachiko was safe, further news of the whereabouts was largely ignored, in favour of the media circus surrounding the school. But there's more to it than that. People weren't just uninterested in learning of Sachiko's history or whereabouts, there was simply no data to be had. I can't move my body because of sleep paralysis, I guess, but I can clearly see the room I'm in now. There's one boy and two girls inside for myself. I recognize them. They're the children who were killed in Heavenly Host during the incident, but they're still alive. Unfortunately, they're all bound hand and foot, and just sprawled out on the floor, and so am I. That's the real reason I can't move. Since my hands and feet are tied up, I can't remove the blindfold either. That just makes everything so much worse. I guess because I can't say, I begin to listen more intently. The helpless cries of other children echo off the walls of a cramped room. I'm so scared, it feels like my head's going to explode. I kept begging and pleading, but all I heard in the response was the man walking away from me. In order, okay? In order? I've never heard screaming like this before. It's pure primal terror cutting through the air like a perfect sine wave. It's the boy at the end. I'm gonna have to put a warning at this episode because holy shit. It feels like he's been screaming for an eternity. I think he's been killed right now. I'm gonna have to put a big fat fucking warning in front of this episode. Holy shit. My god, what the hell is he doing to him? No one deserves this. Why isn't God allowing him to fall unconscious so he doesn't have to suffer? It's been at least half an hour now. Those inhuman screams of a young boy being ripped apart from the inside have finally come to a halt. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm super glad that it's not like a CGI and just, like, I have a feeling, I really hope the PSP version doesn't have a CGI of this, because I can see why it was banned in Australia. God, I can't take any more of this, I'm losing my mind. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it! Oh, Jesus, the fucking noises. Ah. You know what? I don't care. Just get it over with and leave me in peace. Finally, after hearing a sound like a heavy object being dropped, the noises stopped and the room grew quiet again. Those footsteps are getting closer, all my hair standing on end at this point. Everything below my stomach feels like it's frozen, like I've suddenly been stricken with severe diarrhea. Okay. In order? God, why am I relieved by the silence? The kid next to me. Which means it's my turn now. Someone got me by the hair, they're pulling my head up, and taking off my blindfold, which means I can see the face of my killer. The 4 missing children were found in the basement room of Heavenly Host Elementary School, unused and officially sealed within the building's construction. When authorities entered, they were greeted with an inhumanely horrific sight. Based upon the evidence at hand, the murder weapon was determined to be a pair of large sewing scissors found in the hands of the accused. Investigators suspected some hesitation on the man's part, however, as the deceased victim's wounds did not indicate that his full strength had been used. Nonetheless, he had clearly acted with extreme malicious intent. The official cause of death for the 3 murdered children have been listed as loss of blood following removal of the tongue. But the actual state of affairs was not quite so clinical, nor even so pleasant, if you can believe it. The following details have been extrapolated from information previously unreleased to the public, or at least previously unreported by news outlets. These details of the crime are based on the official police testimony of Sachiko Shinozaki herself. Evidently, the victims were bound, blindfolded, and spaced out on the floor, then killed one by one. One was repeatedly stabbed in the abdomen with the aforementioned pair of scissors, then had many of his internal organs forcibly dug out. His discarded innards were found partially buried beneath the earthen floor of the basement room. Another was stabbed in the head dozens upon dozens of times, to such an extent that all the flesh and bone above her jawline was essentially minced away. Oh god. With my blindfold removed, with the sight that appeared before me was horrific than anything I could possibly imagine. The person staring back at me, brandished a blood-soaked pair of sewing scissors, wasn't the large man from earlier at all. It was one of the What? What? She was staring intently with me soulless grey eyes, and then she just stared, giggling. I didn't fucking see that one coming. She was opening and closing the bloody scissors over and over again, and the sound kept echoing through the room. Then she took the dull, rusty, thoroughly blood-soaked blades and slowly brought them closer and closer to my left eye. It was Sachiko? Not... Oh my... How? Why? Why is it you? It was Sachiko... Oh my god. Can't say I fucking saw that one coming. The third victim was stabbed in the left eye an indeterminate number of times, until her eyeball began soup-like in consistency. She was eventually just left like that, slowly bleeding to death in horrible agony. Strangely, it was only after these mutilations had already been inflicted that the killer went back and severed the victims' tongues. Learning the truth about these proceedings is shocking even to me, but it makes it nearly impossible to accept the murderer as anything but a monster. And bearing witness to every moment of this way was a 7-year-old girl named Sachiko. In many ways, she's the most pitiable and long-suffering of them all. But it was for her tearful, frightened testimony that Yoshikazu Yanagihori was officially charged. Now going back to the hunt of information of this unfortunate girl's whereabouts, it was her words that ultimately led to Yoshikazu's sentencing. Therefore, it comes as no real surprise that her sensitive information pertaining to her and her family would be withheld. That's to be expected. What's not expected, however, is that there's not even the slightest trace of the information left to find. It's as if it simply never existed. Therefore, I cannot help but consider alternate possibility explanations, and I remind you, this is more conjecture. But one question keeps nagging me at the back of my head. Was Yasukazu Yanagihori really the murderer of the 3 victims? Is it possible the crime was not actually perpetrated by him at all? Think about it. In his final days, Yoshikazu was incapable of communication with others through speech, and despite his childlike revision, he's always been a personable and friendly man. As the saying goes, he wouldn't hurt a fly. All his relatives, friends, and neighbors confirmed as much, shocked to hear that such a kindly man could commit these uncancelable atrocities. He certainly has no motive for the crime either. There was nothing for him to gain from it. Then again, he may simply have lost his mind. Look at his father. It was around the same time that Principal Takami Yanagihori suddenly became speaking in tongues and acting in the most peculiar way. Not to mention scribbling incomprehensible gibberish all over his walls as if possessed. He seemed frightened of someone and would often be found crouching in a corner of his office, moaning and thrashing when visitors came by. If he could wind up in such a beleaguered state with no warning, then perhaps so could his son. I believe that we're looking at the curse far more powerful than anything a man could devise. From the time it opened its doors to the day it closed them forever. Heavenly Host Elementary School's sealed basement room has existed as some form of cursed ground. And to find the underlying cause, we must go back beyond the infamous kidnapping and murder incident. Back a whole 20 years. I believe I may have found a clue that could shed some light on the situation. It may be very far-fetched as leads go, but it is a lead nonetheless. Regrettably, since Heavenly Host was not only closed down, but demolished altogether, and another school was built upon its place, it's no longer possible to investigate the basement room directly, but my protege has found what may be the next best thing. Something that could make the impossible possible once more. Preparations are being made to pursue this lead even more. Be sure not to miss the next installment. It may be the scoop of a lifetime. Were they going to use the Sachiko Ever After charm? The fuck? That music came out of nowhere. Also, Code Kabiki. Okay. Well, that was Corpse Party Chapter 4. I'm glad I got it done today. That means I can probably just go ahead and do Chapter 5 later at a different date and get it done, and then I can have the entire series finished over with. I'm happy with that. The story is getting really, really interesting. I know that I looked at a walkthrough and that is a little bit stupid to me. I probably could have beaten this game without a walkthrough, but I wanted to beat it today, and I didn't have the time to sit and do everything. But the story is starting to become really interesting. Like, I thought that the murderer was just the teacher, but it turns out the murderer might have been Sachiko, and that makes me wonder because they keep saying, "Oh, she's alive. She's a healthy adult now," but she's a ghost in the school. Like, it feels kind of weird to me that she would be alive but a ghost. So I get the feeling that she's not actually Raj. I get the feeling that she's not. You know, I feel that she's not alive. I feel like she's dead, or something happened that made her child spirit stay there. Like, imagine like her anger, like she might. I don't really know how to explain this, but there might be like, because there's definitely things of occult, witches, and all that stuff in the Corpse Party series. So I get the feeling that maybe, I don't know. I'm sure I'll be explained in the next chapter, so I'll find out in chapter 5. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Peace out, Godspeed, see you all in the next chapter of Corpse Party Blood Covered. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.